Hello, hey guys, all two of you. Let me see. Let me make sure I am heard. This is a sudden live stream. This was not planned, but I'm on a new thing, so I just want to make sure my voice is traveling. Do you guys hear me in the comments? So wait, am I live? Yep, I'm live. So my subscriber sent me something in the chat. Okay, yep, we're live. There go the people in the chat. Good evening, Cantor on. Yeah, my subscriber sent me something, which first of all, I don't understand why my subscribers don't send me more stuff. I literally tell y'all to send me stuff to my email, to send me stuff to my Instagram, to send me stuff to my CashApp. But no, if you guys do have like clips and stuff to send and you're in the Discord, please feel free to send them, because this clip that my subscriber sent me, just like, y'all, it threw me for a loop. Actually, I have not just been upset about something, like genuinely upset about something for a good minute. Hello, Level Up Single Mom, welcome. Hello, London Link. Hello, welcome. Wake Up Makeup Slay. But yeah, let me take my email off the screen so I can share the video we're gonna watch. And I also just want to make sure my voice is traveling audibly and clearly, because this is a new device. I want to make sure we're not struggle streaming. Okay. I want to make sure we're not struggle streaming. But yeah, y'all can definitely send me stuff on Discord if y'all just need something to be reviewed. But let me share this video with you guys. Actually, let me play my intro and then we can start. So if you're in the first Discord, I've made a second Discord, by the way, and that's going to be the Discord. The first one is closed to new people. That's just going to be private because y'all are a mess. Y'all are a mess, and I can't have y'all embarrassing me. I can't have y'all embarrassing me. So y'all have me. I'm in the middle of making a brand new Discord. But so my subscriber sent me a video of a psychologist, and apparently he has done what a lot of men are doing these days, and he has started a podcast to give young men advice. And I've never actually, as you guys know, I've never actually seen any male podcast before. I've never heard of something like this. So I just wanted to give it a quick look to see what a psychologist has to add to the online discourse, because I strongly believe, controversial opinion, men have problems too. Absolutely, men and boys, the male sex, have problems too. And I think it's good for established men, especially psychologists, therapists, mental health professionals, to be helping out the younger generation of men with male problems in a healthy way. That's what I love to see, something like that. So of course, since I've never seen a male podcast before, I had to hop over here to see what he was saying, because I just believe men need advice. So let's see what advice he has to offer to me, and what I can share with maybe my nephews and my cousins, and just some men in my life.
I'm Dr. Orion Saravan, and this is Psycacks, Better Living Through Psychology.
Oh, that's so fast. I have no clue why that sped up like that.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is why men care about a woman's sexual history. Most men on some level.
Okay, let me get my notepad out. The topic for today, guys, why men care about a woman's sexual history. You know, I'm actually very interested in this topic. I'm a man, and this is news to me. I've never actually heard this before, so I do want to hear this. I do.
Level already understand the answer to this question. So this episode is specifically designed to help the women out there. Women, I am
Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, I was taking notes, but this is just for the women, so I'll stop taking notes now. You know, I'll keep taking notes. So, okay, we're going to learn why men care about a woman's body count, and this is for the women. Okay, you know, that's important. It's important that we know who he wants this advice to reach.
imagine that the emphasis that men can put on your sexual history can feel somewhat baffling, especially if we're talking about experiences that occurred before the man in your life even knew you. You might think all that is in the past. That was then and this is now, and I'm here with you now. So, really, what's the issue? Well, I'm here to explain what the issue is. But before I do so, please remember to like this episode and subscribe to this channel. It takes less than a second, costs you nothing, and it's a great way to help spread this message. So if you like what you're hearing, then please do the thing.
Now, I don't usually, I know he just said to like, but I don't usually like until the end, just so we can vet, you know, and make sure. As a psychologist, I'm sure he understands that it is important to vet someone before you give them something. You know what I mean? Production says he's gonna end up stripped of his license. Well, I'm looking for the license. I was doing some research, but anyway, that's not important. That's not important. But welcome, production. Welcome, Mara. Lady M, welcome. We just a quick live stream. If you're new in here, this is a psychologist. I'm using quotation marks because I need to find credentials first before I start addressing somebody like that. But he's going to give us some advice and some, you know, he's going to learn us something today about why men care about women's body count. Cantor said, my guess is 80% of it are his insecurities. And the other MJ said, hey, welcome. Hello, LB, welcome. His name, we could just call him the Psych for now. We'll look at the end.
Also, if you're thinking about going to grad school, then check out stellargre.com and use the coupon code PSYCH for 10% off all membership plans.
Hello, Miriam.
So, why are men so concerned about what you did in the past sexually with other men? The answer is actually complex and multifaceted. There are two general components.
Okay, one second. I'm so sorry, guys. I have to take notes. Y'all know it's very important for me to take notes. Okay, he said the answer is complicated and multifaceted. Okay, got it. Two general components. All right, let's see what's going on.
Here's how we can begin to approach an understanding. Ladies, have you ever had the experience, and I bet you have, of buying an expensive piece of clothing?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me just look at my notes here. The answer is complicated and multifaceted, two general components. Have you ever bought a t-shirt? Okay, let's see where this is going.
Only to realize a week or two later that a discount code existed that could have gotten you 50% off the same item.
Well, this is not what I was expecting. Let's see what my note said. The answer is complicated and multifaceted. And let's see what he said after that. Have you ever bought a t-shirt and then the t-shirt had a discount on it? Now, I'm not a psychologist, guys. Not that y'all know of, but I feel like this is not how I feel like this isn't how a psychologist would approach something like this unless they are talking to a child. It does feel quite reductive, and there are means to simplify conversations without, like, off the bat with the t-shirt analogy. I have an issue with people comparing humans, right? Women are humans, or like comparing humans to inanimate object when it comes to relation, or comparing having a romantic or sexual relationship with humans to inanimate objects. It feels dehumanizing, right? I'm not a t-shirt, I'm not a car, I'm not a key in a lock. I am a human being. For someone to reduce my existence to a t-shirt does not feel like something that a mental health professional would do. Now, when it comes to maybe teaching concepts to children, I might understand now, but I don't. He doesn't seem to be a child psychologist who speaks with children. He speaks with men, young men, sure, but adult men. So, the frontal lobe has developed. I believe we can tackle these things with full adult frontal lobe. Um, we can tackle this intelligently and in a grown up way. We don't really have to do the reducing thing, but maybe this is going somewhere. I feel like I'm judging him too harshly. Let's see where this goes.
When you learn about the existence of that code, how do you feel? Not very good, right? You may even have complained and tried to get the company to retroactively honor the code after the purchase. I've seen many women do that. And why do you do that? Because learning about the discount code actually changes your perception of the item that you bought. Whereas 2 weeks ago, you were more or less happy to pay full price for that piece of clothing. Once you realize that you paid 100% more than you needed to, you can't look at the same item the same way again. It's not nearly as attractive and desirable as it once was. Why? Because it turns out you didn't actually underpay for something valuable, you overpaid for something cheap.
You overpaid for something cheap. Um, y'all, I don't know what goes on in mental health, whatever school you have to go through to get your psychology or therapy degree, but I'm not sure that they generally talk about human relationships as you feel like you overpaid for something cheap. Um, that's not what my therapist does. My therapist is not every therapist. That's not what any of my therapists in the past have ever done when it comes to discussing relationships. That, again, like I said earlier, that does feel quite reductive and dehumanizing on the other person's part. The analogy again was, have you ever went to the store and bought a t-shirt and you find out they had a sale last week and it was 50% off? Now you feel like you overpaid for something cheap. This is his analogy to describe men speaking to men, why men feel a type of way about women having sex prior to being in a relationship with them. Um, the men feel like they overpaid for something cheap. Again, outside of speaking to children, I don't know the use of this analogy in a healthy way in the mental health field. Again, I'm not a psychologist. This doesn't seem, this just in my opinion, does not seem like a healthy way to approach this conversation. You overpaid for something cheap. Um, Look, y'all. Whew. Let me get in the comments real quick. I guess I'm a t-shirt. Lancenet says hello. Welcome, Lancenet. I don't think I've seen you in a minute. Welcome. People are paying $1,000 for Mickey Mouse, Pac-Man, Astro Boy, Big Red Boots. I think we'll be okay. Thank you for reminding me about what people will pay crazy amounts of money for. Somebody's gonna see the value in the t-shirt if it ain't one person, because I definitely don't see any value in those big ass red boots. But they're $350 and they're selling out. So hey y'all, this video is looking wild so far. It is looking. That's not how that works. I just bought some Holland Cooper stuff, and I know that from time to time they may have a sale, but it doesn't change my perspective of the products. I was going to buy anyway. Yeah, that's how I would approach relationships. I assume I would only be approaching a woman who I feel like, to the extent that you use this dehumanizing analogy, I would only approach people who I feel like are worth it, regardless of what type of sale there is or regardless of how much the price is. I would only approach someone who I feel like is worth it. If something went on sale or something was more expensive at a time, I don't really care. I think what matters is your perception of who you're dating. So, I mean, that's how I feel about it, or whatever. Hey, Tori, welcome. Ain't no way. And black men can't afford a meal. Yeah, maybe this is, maybe this is a conversation for people outside of the community, because I have no clue. Maybe it's me. Where's Lanton at? Why I ain't get no shout out? You definitely did get a shout out earlier today. But look, y'all, I've had something like this happen to me before. I won't completely discredit what he just said. I dated a woman, and we decided to wait until we knew each other better before we were intimate, because she said she'd feel more comfortable with that, and I didn't have a problem with whether we waited or not, so that was fine with me. Later in the relationship, she was telling me about some guy she dated in the past because he messaged her out of the blue. I'll tell you what the message was later, because that's also interesting. But while she was telling me about this, it slipped up that she and him were intimate on their first date. This wasn't something that I brought up at that time, because she was literally like breaking down, and she was crying and telling me about this dude. So it didn't feel like the appropriate time, but that stayed persistent in my head. And the next day I asked her about it because I felt a type of way about it. Like this guy is saying, I had feelings of insecurity. Well, why did he get to? Was he more special than me? Was he better than me? Did you like him more? Right? I don't think it's unnormal for people to have feelings of insecurity or jealousy like this, which is why I adopted, if you guys remember, one of our Dusty questions, and the question was, if you asked your wife if you had the best sex ever and you didn't, would you want her to lie to you, or would you want her to tell you the truth? And I said, don't ask questions that you aren't ready that you aren't ready for the answer to. But yeah, I was feeling a type of way. I was feeling jealous, like I was feeling insecure, because everything in my mind was like, he was just better than me. You just liked him more, and you just like, what was going on? And that feels like completely reasonable to me to have that initial response. Without giving away too many details, she said that on her first date with him, everything was nice. He clicked all the right boxes. He was charming, sweet guy. And then after they were intimate, he ended up ghosting her on all her social media. He stopped texting her back. She said it felt traumatic to her, because while she was sitting at home that night, smiling and waiting for him to text back and planning their future and how many kids are we going to have and what house are we going to move into, she looks back and thinks, in hindsight, he was probably on the same night texting his friends about how easy she was to get in bed. He was probably looking at her texting him with his friends, right? She was texting, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And he's with his friends in a group laughing at her. And it wouldn't be until days later that she realized what had happened and that she's blocked on everything. And that's why he's not responding. And this has happened to her in more than one relationship. This has happened to her more than one time. So as a response, she developed a form of protection, right? Which came in the form of waiting to have sex, which I think a lot of girls go through something like that and develop that same type of response, where it's like, even if I feel like everything's right, even if the guy's perfect, even if everything's going good, I'm going to wait because every time before it's been the same thing. Um, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm going to be used like a sex object and discarded. So I'm going to develop this protection, right? So she said, it's not that I like you any less. It's not a punishment to you. It is protection for me. And that part was very important. It's not a punishment for you. It is protection for me. I have legitimately been used for my body in the past and then discarded like a object to protect myself from this, because we all know that vetting doesn't work as much as we like to think it does. Even when I meet someone who I think is amazing, I wait to have sex because in the past, men have literally been amazing and then used me and discarded me. It's that simple. Notice me and her were able to have that conversation without me comparing her to a t-shirt, without me comparing her to a car, to a key and lock. Notice that she's able to maintain her dignity, a semblance of her humanity, right? Did you guys notice that? I'm not a mental health professional. Somehow we were able to break this down in a simple way that I think you all understand. Maybe you don't. Maybe you guys are confused and you didn't follow along. Do I need to slow down? Am I going too fast? Did you guys not understand what I said there? Was anything confusing to you guys? Because, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't have the credentials to break down these complex scenarios in a way that I think people can understand. So it could completely be possible, guys, that, as a trained psychologist, you just have to compare women to cars and inanimate objects. I'm simply not trained in this field. So maybe I'm wrong. That's completely possible, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see what else he has to offer. We are 2.5 minutes into a 7-minute video. Do y'all think we're gonna make it through this? Let's see what else he has to offer, because that was my take. My take is that women aren't punishing you, and it's not like you're getting some discount or some cheap woman and you're paying too much. Like, to me, it just feels like probably somebody's been hurt in the past and they don't want to be hurt again. And as much as you feel like you're a nice guy, there have been plenty of nice guys in the past who take advantage of that and then use her. So maybe she developed some protection. That's how I feel about it. So let's see how he feels about it.
And that is not a good feeling. So what does this have to do with sexual history and relationships? Well, a number of things. First of all, you have to understand that, broadly speaking, there is a sort of arms race between men and women in the sexual marketplace. In a highly simplified version, it breaks down like this. Men are trying to get as much sex as possible from women for the least amount of time, energy, and money. And women are trying to get as much time, energy, and money from men for the least amount of sex.
Okay. Y'all, is this a psychologist? Wait, no, this has to be a joke. Hold up. Let me look at his channel. Why women don't apologize. Loyalty means different things to men and women. Why modern dating doesn't work. Wait a minute. Y'all, this actually seems like red pill. Why women don't apologize. Loyalty means different things to men and women. He can't be making videos about, cheating for a man is different. A man can have sex with a lot of... He can't be doing... I just know he can't be doing that. No. Okay, let me just... Men are trying to get sex. Women are trying to get resources. Because there's an arms race and you have to play the game. So I've heard this before. Obviously, I've looked at a lot of red pill and manosphere stuff and the MGTOW and all that. And it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't faze me to hear something like this. I've heard it over and over and over and over again. What's getting me is that this is a psychologist, y'all. this is a supposedly, quotation marks, because I don't know. I don't know this man's credentials, but this is supposedly a mental health professional. Like, you have to go to school and train for this stuff. So this isn't like some random 30-year-old balding man on the internet talking about a woman shouldn't care that I'm fat and ugly because women should only care about resources. Only men care about look, right? I that stuff just rolls right off of me. I actually don't care anymore. But it's something about a trained professional doing this that just ignites something in me that just I don't know. I don't know what it is, guys. Um, yeah, it feels kind of gross. Men are trying to get sex, women are trying to get resources. This sounds like the hypergamy argument. Um, so my issue with this is I do think I think he's right about men trying to get as much sex as they can without putting in any resources or time or energy into dating. I absolutely agree with him there because, I mean, we've talked about it before on here. What I disagree with is women are trying to get as many resources as they can with as little time, effort, and energy, with as little sex as possible. I think women are dating. Like, this is my honest belief, y'all. Just my personal belief. I honestly think women are just dating, just trying to date. I don't think women are like taking men out to and forcing these men to take them to get Applebee's and forcing the men to pay for $20. Like, I don't think this is what women are doing. Like, I don't think it's like a manipulation tactic or a game or a war that's being fought on the women's end. I think women are just dating. I think generally women want to date someone who makes at least what they make, someone who's at least as educated as them. Um, Outside of that, I think people are generally, according to most data I've read, women seem to be dating for men who have emotional availability, emotional intelligence, etc. Outside of matching me as far as what I bring in my socioeconomic status. So to me, it just feels like women are dating. Men interpret this as a game. I have no clue why. And the men are like, you got to get good at the game. You got to learn how to get as much sex as possible. Pick up artistry and red pill. We're going to show you how to sleep with as many girls. Like, it feels like the game is only being played by one side and the other side is just legitimately dating. Recall I told you about the my ex-girlfriend and her the first date with this guy, and in her mind she's like, wow, this is an amazing guy, this is someone I can marry, the vibe's right. And in his mind, this was like all a tactic to get some coochie. That's how I feel like it is generally. I could be wrong. It's just my personal opinion, but the hypergamy argument just doesn't sit right with me. Aside from the fact that women don't generally date, like, I know that guys say, oh, women want a man who's 6 feet tall and he makes 6 figures and he has a 6-pack, but women don't generally date athletic men. They don't generally date tall men. They don't generally date high earning men. Women generally date average men. Average men tend to date average women of a similar socioeconomic status, finances, education, height. Like, I just don't understand it. Now, men do tend to out earn their partners. I think 90. Let me quickly look this up. This is for college women only. Well, college women at least are marrying usually at a rate of 93%. Their partner makes more than them. I'm sure it's pretty similar for most women, regardless of education status. But this is, if you're an average woman dating an average man, the average man is going to out earn you. I don't think this is like intentional, right? I don't think girls are on the first date like, so do you make $55,000 exactly? No? Okay, well, sorry, I can only date men who make 55,000 and above. No, I think average women tend to date who they're around, and that tends to be average men, and average men tend to out earn average women. I don't think this is like some intentional biological hypergamy game that women are playing to suck out the most resources that they can without having sex. So maybe my opinion is wrong, and maybe it's true that women actually are taking a man to Applebee's to use him for his the Applebee's 2 for $20. Yeah, that could be entirely true. Keep in mind, Applebee's 2 for $20 is $20 for 2 meals. That means the man's meal is $10 and the woman's meal is also $10. This would mean that women are trying to finesse you out of their $10 half of the meal. I mean, this could be completely possible. This absolutely, you know what? Now that I think about it, yeah, that's probably it. Women are out here finessing these men for $10. You know, when you put it like that, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. This is why it's good that we have his advice. Let's see what else he's saying.
This is obviously an oversimplification, but there must be at least some truth to it because we typically don't see the roles reversed. So when a man is
I think let me let him continue.
Actually in a relationship with you, in that he's taking you out on dates and listening to your problems and meeting your family and taking you on trips and supporting you emotionally. In short, when he is heavily investing time, energy, and money into you, and then he learns that you fucked a guy that you met at a bar an hour ago and who ghosted you the next day, he's going to feel like you did when you found out about those discount codes. That is, he's going to feel like a total schmuck for overpaying for something that you were obviously willing to sell for a fraction of the price. And
I'm sorry. I don't know if I can make it through this, y'all. We're only halfway. Oh man, I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know. This just feels disgusting to me. It feels disgusting. Imagine a girl feeling confident enough to confide in her boyfriend something like, hey babe, when I first lost my virginity, it was on my first date with this guy. It hurt. I was bleeding. I was scared. I didn't enjoy it at all. I felt anxious. I didn't want to be there. And after it was all over, I felt used and disgusted. And her boyfriend's reply is, wait, how come he got to have sex on the first date? You made me wait a whole month before we had sex. Really? How are you? It feels disgusting because, again, this is a psychologist. How is this your take on it? How is this your take? Do y'all understand how reductive that is? Oh my goodness.
And I guarantee that will change the way he perceives you forever. So that's one part of the answer. The second.
I should have let that part play before I paused the first time. That is so reductive. And
second part of the answer of why men care about a woman's sexual history is even more pragmatic.
Oh, I meant to actually replay that because I needed to hear that again.
For a fraction of the price. And I guarantee that will change the way he perceives you forever.
I feel like he's saying this in a negative. Maybe I heard it wrong the first time. It did if y'all recall, my ex, when she told me about this, it did change how I felt about her, but that wasn't in a negative way. Like the type of understanding that you get from realizing that someone literally has to put up a wall to protect themselves, even when they feel like they're with someone good, because of how good the people in their past have been at lying about the type of person they are. I feel like there's a new type of understanding that you can get from your partner, but I don't feel like that's what he's saying. I feel like, again, he's using the t-shirt analogy. So the thought of my girl coming to me and saying, I felt, I don't know, I felt pressured into having sex on the first night. And my response being, why did I have to pay for a t-shirt at full price that someone only had to, like, that just feels disgusting to me.
So that's one part of the answer. The second part of the answer of why men care about a woman's sexual history is even more pragmatic. In general, to determine how people actually feel, it's far more accurate and reliable to examine what people do over and above what people say. The fact of the matter is that people can move their lips and say anything. They can say things like, I love you, or you're the best I've ever had, or I can't stop thinking about you. People can say whatever they want. And because of that, there's always the possibility of doubt as to whether or not the words actually reflect their felt experience and objective reality. Now, ladies, it's also true that you will do more in the bedroom with men you are more attracted to, with men you like more. When your attraction is high, you will make yourself more sexually available in every sense of those words, and you will willingly break the rules that you rigidly enforce for others. So if you put
I don't feel like what he just said is untrue, by the way. I just feel like you should be encouraging people not to break those rules. At least that's what my therapist isn't like, hey, Petty, come on. You break the rules for other girls, so you should break the rules for this girl too. No, my therapist is like, what rules? So there are, like, I have values, I have standards. Well, I don't know if you're asking me, but I do have values and standards. I have certain boundaries. Like I need to want to actually, yeah, let me pull them up. Yeah, I have a plethora of standard that I'm supposed to be adhering to. I like reliability, so I date reliable women. I like women who are committed to the relationship, compassion. I like dependability, discipline, intelligence. Right, there's like I have a whole plethora of values, and I could get into them literally all day. But if I'm dating someone and they are exemplifying those values, like I consider those standards not rules. Well, the rules come from the standards because you're supposed to make boundaries off of these values, right? You're supposed to make boundaries off of these standards. I'm only emotionally available to someone who's emotionally available to me. It's important that I'm not like talking to a brick wall. It's important that I feel like I'm talking to a human who sees me as a human, and right. It's so for someone who's meeting just that one, just emotional availability, for example, for someone who's meeting that standard, they come off as a much more attractive person to me than someone who's not. Just because they are meeting those standards doesn't mean that I should now knock down all my boundaries and bend the rules for them. That's an unhealthy way to apply your standards. That's, in my mind, that's what a mental health professional should be helping you do. They are standards for a reason. They don't bend and fold. They are rigid. Now, preferences can bend and fold, but a standard should be rigid. He shouldn't be up here talking about, come on, ladies, you break the rules for those guys you like. Why can't you break the rules for this new guy? No, you should be encouraging people to maintain their boundaries, not to, I guess, give it up to a good guy or whatever he's got. I have no clue.
two and two together, you can see that learning about a woman's sexual history is a way for men to kind of confirm a woman's words with her actions and to determine how attracted a woman actually is to them. Why? Because if a man finds out that you did other
Hey, Nova B, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Sorry.
things sooner or more frequently than you did or do with him, the reasonable conclusion that he is going to draw is that you are not as attracted to him as you have been to other men in your past, with whom you were willing and enthusiastic about doing those things. And this is also going to make him feel like a schmuck, because it's going to make him feel like you are settling for him. That's the
I don't know. Where is his understanding? Didn't we talk about earlier, like the idea that someone can hurt you in the past and you can create boundaries based off of that, healthy boundaries? Why is he like, don't you understand? The men feel so bad when you don't have sex with a man. He's going to feel stupid. You had sex with another man. Why not him? Why not all men? Why not all men? Oh, okay. The wordplay. I don't think he's a real psychologist. I mean, I'm gonna Google him or something because they need to know about this if they don't already. Anyway, let me not say that. He's wrong. Jesus, this man is a child. Super freaky sex, not just sex. Yeah. Did you guys know that people open up more to people who they like? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what conclusion I'm supposed to draw from this, but schmuck. Yes, he said a schmuck. These men feel like a schmuck. When you have sex with one man and then you don't immediately give it up to all his friends, don't you know how those poor friends feel? This is why we need to make sex a legal right for men. Because men are hurting. I'm sorry, I promised I wouldn't cry. It just hurts me so bad to see so many men out here not having sex because evil women want to protect themselves. How dare you? Anywho, let me let him finish. We have a minute left. I think we can get through it.
The second part. And if you combine those two parts, the result is a man who now feels that he's paying twice as much for half as much, which is not a great place to be. How does this play out in my own personal life? Well, if I learn, for whatever reason, that a woman is not willing to be more sexually open, available, and freaky with me, then I know she's been with the guy that she has been most attracted to in the past, then I just conclude that the relationship is not worth my time. This is not because I...
Oh man, yeah. We could have cut this off at like the first minute. Again, that's his personal experience. And my personal experience, when my girl told me that she had been used by men before, and because of that, she wants to put up boundaries so that so she can protect herself from being used by a man sexually and then discarded. When my girl told me that, the idea, oh, well, this relationship has concluded. You didn't have sex with me on the first date, but you had sex with him. Like, damn, that's tough. That's tough. It's like, it's dehumanizing. It's the amount of sympathy that he has for men. I feel if he applied that sympathy equally, there could have been such a nuanced take, because I believe he could have talked about the fact that, hey, if you hear that your partner had sex with someone earlier than you, or they did some freaky, nasty, whatever with somebody else, but not you, yeah, that can make you feel insecure or jealous. Here are some healthy ways to deal with it. Or here are some ways to understand why that happens. Maybe she went through this. Maybe her last partner forced her to be freaky in a way that she wasn't comfortable doing. Maybe she felt a type of way about speaking up, and now she's able to maintain her boundaries. Like, this could have been such a nuanced conversation, but instead, oh, you had sex with someone else in 3 days, but it took me 7. This relationship has concluded because you are a used t-shirt and someone got you for half price. Like, what? Does this feel like the teachings of someone who is building healthy relationships between men and women? It doesn't feel like that to me. This feels disgusting, y'all. I have never actually felt disgusted before. Oh my goodness. I'm going to let this play out. It is 40 seconds remaining. I'll just let it play uninterrupted. I pinned a link in case anybody wanted to say anything, and then I'll conclude the live stream there, because we were supposed to watch another one of his videos, but yeah, no.
I think I'm entitled to those things. I appreciate that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and some women will find me more attractive than others. That is perfectly fine. I conclude that the relationship is not worth my time because I only want to be in a relationship with women who feel like I'm the best she's ever had, with women who are extremely attracted to me, with women who are enthusiastic and excited about being there. That's the experience I'm looking for.
That's not the experience you're looking for. A woman can be completely excited and enthusiastic to be there with you and say, I still want to protect myself from being used. So is it okay if we postpone having sex? Y'all, this is toxic. Oh my goodness. I want a woman who values me. Well, how do you determine value? She's going to sleep with me on the first night. What? I mean, anywho.
And the best way for her to demonstrate that feeling is by doing things with me that she hasn't done with other men. Everything else is just lip service. What do you think? Did my explanation make sense? Please let me know in the comments below, and thank you for listening.
Okay. Hey, Vitamin. Hey, Paris. Well, you heard him. What do you think? Did his advice make sense? Please let him know.
I well, initially I was like, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Initially, I was stunned. Like it took me a while to process, and I actually asked um some people for their opinion, some men for their opinion first, because I it was a lot. It was a lot to process, and I wasn't fully sure and aware of what all the gears were turning in my mind. But ultimately, I think it comes down to like some key things. One being that I was uncomfortable with the conversation. I went in with one idea about how the conversation was going to go because this was supposed to be a psychologist, and it didn't go that way. Um, there were things that like I don't have a problem with the reality that this is a pervasive mindset or the pervasive mindset of men TM, you know. Um the issue I had though was as a psychologist, I just felt like he would have done more to speak towards like, okay, this is what the mindset is, but here's why we should work on shifting that or changing that. Here's how the way to bridge the gap between men and women is, yeah, maybe understanding on the woman's part in terms of what the current reality is, but then also working, the men working on reframing or changing or evolving their mindset. And that part never came. So what I was left with was kind of a feeling of like, I don't know, when you're in like a psychological thriller or something, and technically nothing scary is happening, but you're still the fear and the discomfort is still being evoked in you. Like that's really how it felt to me watching it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And anyone can chime in. Of course, be respectful of each other speaking, but I don't disagree with you. Noble B, welcome to the membership. Unfortunately, I am off camera because I'm at work, but everyone who becomes a member gets a dab on camera. So I will be saving this. And at some point in the future, you will get a dab during one of the live streams. So thank you. Welcome. Um, but
I,
no, I don't disagree with you. Yeah, Paris.
yeah, I thought it was really disgusting, um, how he was wording things. And again, you summed up how odd it was that he had no empathy for women, because the same parallel can be drawn when it comes to men, and they can date a woman for years, treat her crazy, all of that, and then right afterwards get with somebody who treats them bad, and then they get married and all this stuff. It's like the same unfair balance kind of equation, and the nuance of it all happens the other way around too. There's literally a book called Why Men Marry Bitches.
Mm.
um I had a My cousin's wife was the one who told me about this. And she said she learned everything she did, or she learned everything that she needed to from that book, because of the fact that how she used to be when going into relationships was different than, I guess, what she wanted out of it. Right. And I think that's something that with women, we are, especially if you're a Southern American woman, you're raised to be a certain way to men. I feel like a lot of other cultures are like that with their men too. They baby them, they spoil them, do this and that. And she literally told me, I don't cook. I like to go out to eat. I can cook. Every now and then I'll cook. I'll make sure I burn it so then he doesn't ask me to cook. So it was literally her way of saying, this is what I want, this is what my boundaries are and what I expect. And I'm going to make sure that he upholds that side of it for me to feel fulfilled in the relationship by any means necessary. I felt like it was messed up and coercive and this and that. But then I was younger whenever she told me that. But now thinking about how this man is going through the mental process of equating a woman's worth based off of this, Doctor Strange Matrix Minority Report level of moving these parts around. It's like, okay, so even with that being said, there's art that is worth millions of dollars when it's sold on auction. It was just somebody's attic earlier. They bought it years ago for $20 at a yard sale, didn't know what it was worth. So it just makes no sense. He's making these really basic parallels that have nothing to do with the intricacies and nuance of the conversation. So, like you said, it just comes off very regressive, disgusting, and dehumanizing.
You know what's really interesting about, especially about the first part you said, um, regarding a man being with a woman and just treating her terribly for the whole thing, then get with a new woman and treat her like the bee's knees. One of well, a lot of the comments on that video were talking about analogies for women, and they were doing this as a matter of fact way. So one of the analogies, for example, was a woman in a relationship with a man for 8 years getting proposed. Then one day she finds out that in the past, her new fiance proposed to all his exes after not even half the time. Or a woman who wants to travel the world with her boyfriend and do romantic stuff, but she can't get him to do anything except like a small weekend trip once or twice a year. Then one day she learns that he used to take all his exes to Paris, Tokyo, Dubai, having dinner dates with them in Egypt. And the man in this comment said, I bet you ladies would feel devalued and disrespected and unloved, right? And so I was in the comments like, oh, so you men are going to treat all these women the same, right? All these women, you're going to fly them out to Dubai and you're going to take them out. And the men were like, no, because the last woman was using him. And so he just put up his guard for the new woman. And it's not fair to ask him to do that stuff when he can be here. Okay, so you understand the idea of being hurt by a partner in the past. And then you may need to put up new guards to protect yourself. Even if you want to take someone out and have a nice time with them, you might be afraid of them using your money. So it's like you completely, that's what makes me even more infuriated. It's not like these men are stupid. They're in the comments making the exact arguments that I've made up here for women today, but they only make them for men. When it comes to women, they are completely comfortable using these women any and every way that they can with no nuance at all. And now you have a psychologist enabling them. So,
And it's even worse because the whole linchpin in the Black Men Save Yourself, Passport Bros, Manosphere, all of it is literally based on get them before they get you, protect yourself, run, don't let women use you. They've been hurt before, so they've created all of these levels of guardedness to protect them. But then they're looking at the women, well, why won't you just let me have my way and do whatever I want? And it's in a response to how they're coming off.
But
yeah,
that you also gotta put in there that they don't feel like women can be done dirty because no matter what happens, it's the woman's fault. So basically, like you're supposed to come out of the womb with full-blown wisdom and discernment, of the way the world works and your quote unquote value being that. And also you're supposed to live your life always thinking of what is this man that eventually may come into my life going to think of me. So everything you're supposed to be doing from the time, you hit adolescence on is with this man in mind. So you're always supposed to be a wife or a girlfriend, like you're always supposed to be thinking of yourself in relation to a man, because it's not doing that is actually supposed to be the reason why you do the things that leads to you quote unquote losing your value. And that is a character flaw as opposed to just you being young and living your life and learning as you go and making mistakes and,
And even when you do everything perfect, it's still not good enough. It's still, you're not worthy enough. It's always a moving target every time.
yeah,
Because
because you just get too old too.
right, and that's what I was about to say. It's this Prince Petty, oftentimes, even when you're on Themis' channel and everything, you have a very, very just sniper sharp way of pinpointing the hypocrisy of stuff. And literally everything they do is a dichotomy that does not coexist. It's, I want you to be experienced in a bedroom, but I want you to be a virgin. I want you to have a certain look about you that would garner the attention of a high value man, but don't be looking for that. Look for me though. I want you to be easy, but also don't sleep around. I want you to, you know, even be a certain level of beautiful or upkeep, but I don't want to pay for that. And also, nobody cares about that. I don't want you to be an idiot, but I want you to be coachable and moldable, and all of these dichotomies that do not coexist in the same person. Whenever I watch Fresh and Fit, a lot of times I'm like screaming at the phone or the laptop and saying, you're wanting something from a different type of woman than the woman that you're talking about. So they tend to have these arguments amongst each other of, okay, Miami type women, Instagram model type of women, and then comparing their interactions with those type of women and how they deal in the world versus just everyday average women. It's not the same thing. It does not mix.
And thank you for pointing out. By the way, welcome Afro to the membership. You will also receive a dab. I am screenshotting the new members so that when they come on a future live stream, they will get a dab on camera. We are taking notes. But thank you for pointing out. This is actually, I don't know how I missed this, but the idea that you need to have sex with this man immediately to show him that you actually love him. But also, if you have sex with a man too quick, you're a hoe. But also, if you have sex with too many men, you're a hoe. Like, so imagine a young girl listening to this and she gets in her first relationship, and to show him that she loves him, because this is a psychologist who's saying this, I'm going to sleep with him on the first night because he's such a great guy. But then dude ghosts or does whatever, and she goes to the next guy and she's like, well, I feel like we should wait because I don't want to be used. And he's like, okay, well, this relationship is over because why did you have sex with him quicker than me? So now if she wants to get a relationship with this guy, she's going to have sex with him quick. And like you said, it's going to create the type of woman that they're trying to avoid. The woman who has a high body count, the woman who has this sexual past, and the woman who sleeps with a guy too quick. I don't know. This doesn't feel like it's set up for women to win in any way. So I don't know how these things can coexist. I have absolutely no idea. LB, you've been a little quiet. Do you want to chime in? And then we're going to let Kiki go. I'm trying to get out before in about 2, maybe 3 minutes. So
dang, disclaimer before me because I'm limping.
Well, it's fine. We can go over. Well, let me do. Nah, I'm not going to do
No,
that.
it's cool. We're good. Pretty much agree with what everyone said so far. The rules that men place in this world are very confusing, which is why I opted out. Like probably about 16, 17, I was like, yeah, they tripping. And like aside from that, I think that when these men that are talking about women finessing them for like these 2 for 25 dates and stuff, that has to be young girls. And I say girls because I think of them as like probably under 20. And I think a lot of guys, they go for these younger girls and then they get mad when they get used for money. But that's the whole point of a younger girl dating an older man. They don't just like your old wrinkly, like limp banana self for that. Like,
does this actually happen like as a meaningful number? I feel like the way it happens is the way it happens generally is the man and woman will be talking. The man will ask the woman out on a date because that's what we do colloquially. there's still like gender norms, and since there still are gender norms, the man will be expected to pay for the date, or because he asked out the woman, he'll be expected to pay because he asked her out. I don't think it's like literally women having this nefarious, I'm about to fleece this man for $25 in the tip. I don't feel like it's malicious in intent. I do feel like generally the men are probably
What?
looking for the dates, but I don't feel
Well,
like it is malicious in intent.
All right,
I
Petty.
can say that. Oh, sorry.
No, you can go
I
ahead,
can say
LG.
I can say that I like 20-year-old me or younger was definitely guilty of this.
Oh,
I
let
But
me
it's
say,
know.
let me pause and say, I think it exists. I absolutely do think it
yeah,
exists. I just
but
don't
my
think it
friends weren't all
exists in a
doing this.
meaningful, like as a meaningful number. Like this is what's happening to all guys around. Like I don't think it's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get it. And I was gonna say, like, my friends weren't doing the same thing. Like, there was a few people finessing men, and then there was like everybody else. Like it, and usually the people who have been in a position where they're like what they call finessing men, it's usually a reactive thing from like having genuine intent when you go on dates, and then
Right.
realizing that people are trying to use you, and you're like, well, fuck, I'm gonna get a free meal. Like, but that's like young thinking, like when you don't have your own money, like when you're not established. Because like 30-year-old me is like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I'll take myself on a date. I don't even want to be bothered.
You know what's so crazy is you're saying the younger you, but the younger you would be dealing with younger men, and younger men
No,
don't have. Oh, you was dealing with older men?
yeah. Like my
Oh,
ex was like when I was 21, my boyfriend was like 32. So we're not gonna go too deep into
oh.
that, but
No. We actually should. Wait. Hold on. We actually should.
Let's
We.
pause. So Cheeky is here in Themis and Thoth fashion. We are absolutely going to save the men for the after show. So I'm going to play my outro, and we can have a short after show, and then we can for the men's. Yeah.
is it my favorite?
You really want to catch fucking 350 pounds of dude on your ass?
Of course.
Sounds like a good time.
That's a good time to me. He hop on my meeting, he start riding me. I said, Daddy, don't stop it. Look how he drop it. Just like a pilot, I'm all in his cockpit. I lick the cock tip, I let the cock drip.
What in the world?
All right, guys.
I love that outro. Thank you.
I will never be able to get used to it.
Cheeky, you are here, and you are here to tell us something. What would you like to add?
Well, one, I just want to say hello, Petty. You know what I'm saying? As a supporter, what do you call the supporters of you?
What are we? Are we still the parfaits? Are we the pandas now?
thought
The pineapple pandas.
Panda.
All right, so
Wait.
I'm not that, but I do enjoy who you are as a person, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Although I disagree with a lot of what you and Themis say. You know, I'm one of the people that can just chill out though. First off, want to affirm you. You was right with the whole matriarchy thing by its definition. Of course, you know they want to expand it past whatever it was, but by definition, you were correct. Just want to let you know that so you weren't gaslit.
So by definition, in my opinion, by definition, I was correct. Themis at the beginning of the conversation rejected the notion of the definition of Black matriarchy because the definition has been warped from the regular matriarchy to be what I was using it as in that conversation. So I understand why people would reject that. It has quite literally been used to avoid talking about a failed patriarchy. So
No. So, like I said, again, I understood the additional societal context behind it, but just to let you know, what you read up by definition, you was right. All right, and then, that's exactly.
they agreed with that, but they
Okay.
rejected the
Okay, I thought I was tripping. I was like, no, he's right. But anyway, just wanted to affirm you, because I know it's easy to be gaslit when you're young and on the panel. Because I think you're the youngest on the panel.
It's hard out here for a young man.
Oh, for sure. And then whenever your parents or the whole parent thing, look, man, if you need therapy, I'm not a therapist, but I got you, and we got boundaries. That's homies.
I mean, speaking of therapists, how did you feel about the man's advice today? Did you see it?
So I just got off of I guess a shared collaborative effort. No, what happened? What's up?
Well, what were you here to talk about? I don't think I want to play it again.
I heard Miss LB, and I heard her saying that I don't think most men are being fleeced. No, and I would disagree. Um, I think most men typically are fleeced out of, or at least within dates, but at the same time, I think the cost of it maybe it may be an overreaction to it, right? Like, cause taking a woman out on a date and losing $30 is like, eh. But still, it's the idea that makes it frustrating, and I think a bruise to the ego, right? Especially when I thought LB was dating people within her age range, but you know what I'm saying? She had the sauce to pull up, the 32-year-olds and fleece them.
No, it's not sauce. My ex was just predatory. And
Yes,
so
isn't
were
this
most of the men I dated.
Oh my goodness. So why would, okay, I'm not going to deny your experience, right? Because that's
No,
crazy.
like literal predator. You could look them up in the California penal system.
No way, LB.
Yeah.
How did you end
Well-
up there?
well, without giving away too many personal details on my
Thanks.
stream, I don't want anybody watching my stream closely like that. For any info like that. I do think, yeah, it immediately when she said something like that, I don't want to give away details about myself. I do have a sister who's young, and the idea of someone that age like fleecing the older men is, I mean, to be polite, it's an unusual belief. I do think a lot of men have that belief that these young girls are out. The young girls are actually the predators who are using the old men. They're the ones who are manipulating the men and for, I guess, hypergamy and such like that. That is a unusual argument, but that's not. So the topic of today, that's not the topic. We were kind of talking about. We were talking about that adjacent to the topic. So there's a psychologist, quotation marks, and he was speaking about the topic, why men care about a woman's sexual history. The way he was speaking about this topic was interesting, to say the least. And to summarize, I have issues when people make comparisons of humans to inanimate objects when describing relationships. And I have issues when people don't understand the nuance that comes with sexual history. The idea of being preyed on like a sexual object and then developing boundaries to protect yourself from something like that happening, and then being like dragged for having those boundaries now and being asked to remove those boundaries for the next guy, and then the next guy come along and do exactly what you were using those boundaries to protect yourself from. And it becomes like this never-ending cycle where it's like it doesn't feel like you can win in a system like this. I used an example of one of my exes who we waited a month to have sex. At some point, I found out she had sex with a man on the first date, and I felt a type of way. Is he better than me? Was he more special than me? Did you like him more? Right? It's not unnormal to have a feeling like that, in my opinion. She told me in so many details, he was pretty much the perfect guy on the first date. They had sex, and then he disappeared and blocked her on everything. And in her mind, he was sitting in a group chat with his friends, laughing at how easy she was. So based off of that experience she had, as well as similar experiences with other men when dating, that I think is somewhat generalizable when speaking about women, she developed some boundaries when it comes to sex, just so that she would know that a man is not like the probability of somebody playing the long game, I think, is a lot less than somebody not if you're not putting out on the first day. I think the probability of somebody, it becomes easier to see who a person is over an extended period of time, I think. So she's doing this as a means to protect herself. She said it wasn't a punishment to me. She said it wasn't that she liked me less. She simply said that I've literally been in this same situation before where I really liked a guy everything was right, everything was perfect, and the next day he disappeared out of my life. So this is a form of protection for myself. I feel like that's a lot more of a nuanced way to look at things in general. You were talking about men being fleeced for their money. I agreed with you that does happen. We disagree on how much it happens, but I agree with you that it does happen. The idea of a man saying, I want to go Dutch, if you remember we talked last time, I'm not opposed to that. I'm like, you feel like you've been reduced to a wallet and you're a human and you want to be treated, you want to feel like your time is worth something and not just your money. I'm here for it. 50-50 is out here. People are doing it.
So
So
you mind if
that,
I ask you this, Petty?
it would be, to me, I'll finish by saying, to me, it would be reductive for someone to say, no, you need to pay for all these women. How dare you? You paid for the last woman. Why aren't you paying for me? Right. And people are going to say that, but I believe that you can have your boundaries, and it's a nuanced way to look at that, as opposed to you're punishing me for something the last guy did, or you don't like me as much, or X, Y, or Z.
Right. And I would agree on both ends. So yeah, just I'll give because I understand what you were just saying.
Thank you so much. 'Cause I'm not trying to argue at 9:30.
No. Petty, come on. All right, so let me. This is why I wouldn't consider myself red pill, but the women of my chat let me know about Themis, so they told me I would be considered red pill adjacent. But no, that makes sense. I think that women's ability to have standards and adjust that standard for sexual, conserve that part of themselves makes a lot of sense to me. The men that complain tend to only look at women in a certain light, right? They tend to look at them as a pleasurable meat bag, right, instead of a human being. And it's one of those things where I think it should be that way. If you've experienced something, you should do something to counteract that experience and the negative emotions that come with it. It's only right, because that's a human thing to do. Same thing applies with men, right? Most of these guys have been hurt to a degree, and they're doing what they think is best, not knowing that it actually hinders them. And when it comes to like sexual mating or whatever they are planning or trying to do, sometimes it's confusing. But yeah, no, I agree with you, man. It's I'm a good faith haver, good faith conversationalist.
Okay. Afro says it still made you feel some type of way, though.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
So the type of, I think she was saying this about what happened with me and my ex. The immediate response I had in my head, I don't know if you were here earlier, but she was telling me about this during, it was like a traumatic episode, because some toxic person had texted her and brought up she was diagnosed with PTSD, and this brought forward her PTSD from a situation related to that person. And during this conversation, I learned that while we were choosing to wait for a month, she had sex with someone early. My initial reaction to this, even though I didn't voice it out loud because of what was happening at the time, was I felt insecure. I felt like I wasn't. Is it that I'm less valuable than he is? Do you like him more? Was he more special? Right? That was my initial response. I had feelings of insecurity. I think through the conversation we had, after the conversation, I no longer felt insecure, but my initial response was like jealousy. I don't think that is not normal. I spoke to my therapist about it, and what I think matters is how you respond to that feeling, right? Notice when I spoke to her about it, again, it wasn't like a key and a lock, and how come he got the car when it had less miles? Like, it wasn't inanimate. Right. Let me see. My boss texted me. Yeah, but it wasn't like a comparison to an animate object. It's like, you're a human, you have human feelings. I'm a human, I have human feelings, and we address this as a couple, and I feel like we came out better for it, as opposed to me being like, well, you need to have sex with me right now, because why are you making me wait when he didn't have, like that just no. So I mean,
right, it was like a question of worthiness, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if that is bad. I'm not a mental health person, but hopefully it's not. I think it's completely appropriate at times to be insecure or jealous or something, as long as you're as long as you're dealing with it in a healthy way. It's got, yeah. But you will get your dab, Afro. You will get your dab, Noble B. I will remember. Thank you for everyone. That's how I feel like I'm about to be off these internet streets for a while, because this psychologist just came with the degenerate behavior. I have no clue. What. Anyway, I mean, I'll go look. I want to go see if he's actually a psychologist. But that's all from me today, guys. Thank you for the 2 people who became members today. Thank you, everyone who came up. I guess we can go in a circle. Everybody get 30 seconds. Vitamin, you can start.
I just want to thank
Time's
you.
up. Go ahead, LB. No, I'm just playing.
You know what? I'm starting messing with me.
I'm just playing. I'm
We
sorry.
can't even be friends no more.
Go ahead.
I'm taking it back. Then I'm not saying.
No, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Listen, but this was interesting. You know, I wanted to hear what some schmens had to say about what was going on when Steve, I was crazy or tripping or whatever. So thank you for this, and good night.
Thank you, LB.
Look, I don't even want to talk to you no more. Bye.
What a smooth criminal he is.
Cheeky.
Man, I appreciate you for letting me up. Next time I'll be here earlier to cause a little more havoc. I'm really here in good faith though. So if it makes sense, I'm gonna agree to it. If it don't, then you know what I'm gonna do.
Please don't cause havoc, please. I'm so tired. I had energy the other live stream. I'm so tired.
Man, you know I'm not gonna call. I see you, brother. You tired. It's hard out here for us janitors. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna leave you alone, man. Go. We got grape stains to clean up. See you, dog.
No problem. Thank you. Cantor.
I just realized you were trying to get off, so I'm just going to leave it at goodbye. Good night, everyone.
Nah, you better add some constructive to the conversation.
Well, I'm not trying to hold you up or anything. No,
Wait, did you speak yet? At all?
No, but it's fine.
You can go ahead. I'll give you 3 minutes.
Not 3 minutes. Okay, it's fine. No, but I don't know who it was that was saying that. I think some men actually think you just are born with all the discernment in the world. And I really do think that sometimes men really don't even consider that you have to learn along the way as well. Because I've had a situation before where I was trying to explain to someone why I was doing something, and you could literally see the light bulb go on in their head. Like, oh, you actually had to learn things. So I really don't. The whole thing's a mess, and I really don't think that guy is a psychologist at all. There's no way.
I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't want to say this, but the idea of this is like, it feels like conspiracy, but the idea of a mental health professional wrecking the minds of young men and then selling them like, hey guy, I do therapy sessions for $300 if you guys need to, right? Because I look in the comments and the men are like, this is so depressing, this is why I don't date anymore, honestly I've given up on it, right? It feels like it creates dissent and depression in the men, and then they end anger, and now you've created the perfect environment to sell your services to these guys. I do know I don't know if he's red pill, I don't know, it seems like it, but I've seen a lot of red pill people do that, where it's like, oh guys, if you want to get girls and you want to learn the secrets to dating, all you got to do is buy my course, come to my seminar, pay these fees, and I can give you all the tips and tricks and secrets, guys. I've definitely that's my conspiracy. That's what I think's going on here. I looked at his page, and at some point it seemed like regular generic advice, and then it like sharp turn goes into why are all women evil? How come all women hate men?
Well, if he is a psychologist, then he's like the psychologist version of TLA.
Oh my goodness,
it's a no for me.
Oh my god.
Ooh, I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I was gonna say earlier, because like I've noticed a lot of allegedly educated people spewing some nonsense in general. Your education does not say anything about your moral values and your ability to think critically. Like some people just float through school, and then also like doing bare minimum, and then also some people just have really bad moral compasses. So like there are people who learn psychology because they want to be able to manipulate people. And there are people who go to school, don't get the money they want, and then they use the tools they learned in school to manipulate people to get the money they want. So that's just something that I think should be considered with these online professionals.
Well, I have already put my conspiracy out. We can just add yours to the mix. That is all I have. Thank you, everyone who joined. I'm going to go probably scroll on TikTok for a little bit and then go to bed. But good night, everyone. Thank you for joining. Oh, make sure to leave a like on your way out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I think all of you are subscribed. It's a no for me. Yep. I love it. Love it. We do love it. And I think, yep, that's all from me. Good night, guys. Have a good evening.
Good night.